Thank you for joining me for this episode of Changes Big and Small. This is Demianne, your host, as we explore what makes change exhilarating. This podcast presents a mix of interviews and research to help you make changes in your life. For a few weeks, I'm changing the format. I've been sharing some ideas and challenges with you to help motivate you during this coronavirus pandemic. From next week, I will be doing a series where I interview some people to find out how their life has changed in this time. I'd like to interview you to find out your perspective on this time and your hopes for the future. If you're interested in being part of this project, please fill out the Be a Guest contact form at changesbigandsmall.com. Let's get started with today's topic. What holds you back from making changes to realize your dreams? We have more freedom than ever before. As it turns out, too much choice can actually be demotivating. Researchers in different fields have come up with different approaches to change behavior. So, for example, at work, you may have used SMART goals in the past, or you may have seen some of the work done by Dr. Dweck on mindset, looking at how it affects behavior. There's also cognitive behavior therapy. Today, I'd like to share a simple method with you that is scalable and can be used anywhere. You can even use it if you're having trouble dreaming at the moment. Whether your timeline is 24 hours, days, weeks, or longer, WOOP is a 4-step process to help you get things done. It helps you find ways to stay motivated and energized. With this coronavirus crisis, everyone deals with it in a different way. You may have more energy than usual, and you may want to spend every free minute that you have doing something to pursue your dreams. On the other hand, you may find that you have a difficult time motivating yourself. Wherever you are along this continuum, there are likely some things that you need to continue doing. If you're having any trouble with motivation or with getting things done, WOOP can be helpful. Let's take a step back. You may have heard of positive thinking, or maybe mind over matter. And those are sometimes presented as being the magic formula to help you accomplish your dreams. Dr. Gabrielle Oettingen, who I talked about last week as well, created this 4-step process called WOOP. She finds that positive fantasies are useful in limited cases. They can help inspire you when you're about to give up, or they might give you some short-term pleasure. They help you consider different options for future actions. They can be a useful temporary approach for dealing with depression while you get longer-term help. And they could be a great means of exploration to discover what you want and what you don't want. That's a hard one, figuring out what you want. Actually, maybe some of you are very adept at this, but that's something that I struggle with. If you're not sure what you want, it can help to journal daily to explore your options and see how you feel as you think about them and visualize them. Last week, I talked about mental contrasting as a self-regulation tool. It's useful with unjustified and debilitating fears. And by doing it in an area where you're strong, it can actually leash into an area where you're weak. Today, I'm going to build on that. Dr. Gabrielle's husband was doing research in human behavior as well. Dr. Peter Golwitzer's research showed that when people set an implementation intention, that helped them to be more committed. So what does it mean to set an implementation intention? That means deciding how you will accomplish a wish. Not only were people who set an implementation intention more committed, they were able to use the momentum of realizing one wish to work on fulfilling all the wishes. It works at an unconscious level like mental contrasting does. This led to WOOP. WOOP combines mental contrasting with setting an implementation intention. Doesn't WOOP sound victorious? It stands for Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, Plan. I am sometimes tempted to switch the O's, but it's very important to do them in the right order. So let's go through what would this look like if you had to follow these 4 steps. Starting with wish. Choose a time frame and decide on the wish you'd like to focus on achieving in that time frame. Choose something that you can accomplish with adequate energy. So that means something that you know you can do if you do the work to accomplish it. Now think about the outcome. What would your life be like if you achieved that wish? What would change for you? Visualize the best case scenario in as much detail as possible. Next, the obstacle. What's something internal to you? Not something from somebody else, but something that's internal to you that could stand in the way of you achieving your wish. Think about this main obstacle and imagine it fully. This could be a belief you hold, one of your attitudes, or a behavior. The goal is to find out how you're standing in your own way. The last step is plan. The plan step follows a very specific if-then format. The basic format is if, obstacle, then I will, and you figure out what the action or thought is that would help you overcome the obstacle. It helps you anticipate the challenges that will come up and specify how will you overcome them. This step is perfect for preventing obstacles or for overcoming those that come up, as well as for leveraging opportunities. WOOP has 2 major uses. It can help you make a change, and it can help you cope with a situation that you have no control over and cannot change. In the latter, the wish may actually be to develop a better coping mechanism, for example. WOOP can also help you gain clarity to see whether or not a wish is feasible and what you might be giving up by pursuing that wish. So, for example, if your wish is to go on an expensive vacation, what smaller things might you have to give up in order for you to be able to save the money required to take that trip? The key to using WOOP is to answer the 4 questions fully and honestly. WOOP honors where you are and where you want to go. If you're doing this for the first time, you might find it useful to start with a more emotional, short-term wish, say with a time frame of 24 hours. All you need is a few minutes to be able to focus. You don't need to be alone, but you do need to have time to focus on going through the 4 steps. For each step, you can do the exercise mentally, but I suggest you write it down, especially the first few times you go through WOOP. There is also a free app that you can use to help you go through the steps and track your wishes. For each of the 4 steps, it's important to imagine the scenario fully, but if you're tracking this in a written format or electronically, you can summarize each of the 4 steps using 3 to 6 words. Writing your answers will help you develop the WOOP habit, and it will also track your wishes so you can evaluate your progress over time. If it doesn't work for you the first time, make some adjustments and try it again. And if you're evaluating your progress with WOOP, remember to consider your life as a whole. As you might guess, I do have a WOOP challenge for you this week. My challenge to you is for you to apply WOOP for something that you want to achieve in the next week or less. To get started, ask yourself these 2 main questions, which come from Rethinking Positive Thinking by Dr. Oettingen. Question 1. What is your dearest wish right now? And question 2. What holds you back from achieving it? Even if you're not ready to do WOOP, you might find it useful to just think through those 2 questions or to journal. Thank you for listening to this episode of Changes Big and Small. Please share this episode with one person that you think may benefit from it. I look forward to connecting with you on social media and in the Changes Big and Small Facebook community. If you take on any of the challenges from listening to the podcast, I would appreciate it if you would tag me in a post about it or comment on the podcast or on the website. I hope you'll join me again next week. The podcast comes out every Wednesday, and if you hit subscribe, you will automatically receive it in your podcast app. What's one small change that you can use WOOP to make in your life? As always, remember that change begins with one small step. Have a great week.